tonight, huh? Drunk? I knew.
You are listening to the Doug Stanhope Podcast.
The potato peelings in the sink did not turn into vodka as I had hoped. I only start to need a drink after the liquor stores have closed. I heard you changed your name again, but don't you change your hair. It was the only thing I liked about you in the end. La la la.
Yeah, do you see that that young Hispanic lad, the little mini Joe Rogan? Tell him he can sit in, but to bring his cigarettes in an ashtray.
Oh, is this the Muslim that pretends he's Mexican?
Is he a Muslim? I thought I asked him last night. Last night is such a fucking blur.
He ate pork chops. I was actually testing him.
Yeah, people. They say they're that.
Yeah.
I've done
More
bits
stupid.
about this, and again, another one that's not on any kind of recording about. It's the people who say I'm that, but they're not, are the problem.
Like a weekend Muslim.
Well, the people who say I'm a Muslim just for like.
Sympathy. Right.
Or they say, oh, yeah, I'm Lutheran. Well, you don't practice it, so don't say you are that. Because you're giving the actual people who believe the dogma, the small nugget of mentally ill people that believe all the words, credibility. Because everyone who believed in a religion to the T would be locked up in a fucking mental institution if they went in and said, oh, I believe someone's following all my fucking thoughts and, judging my whatever.
I was a Jesus freak for about a year and a half, absolutely psychotic. I drank poison, camphophenique liquid, because Mark chapter 16 says that people who believe in me will be able to drink poison and survive and pick up serpents. They have those Appalachians.
Snake handler.
Yeah, those guys get bitten to death left and right, dropping left and right.
Yeah, there's a big one that was just died. He was on a reality show about snake handlers, and then he died. Jim Goad is here with me. We're in Atlanta in the green room after a second night, and this is why I never do fucking two shows, because people come back and they see you again, and then you're saying the same shit, and it fucking devastates my soul. And we were going to be podcasting with me and Jim Goad and John Rocker, who was here last night, but he bailed out.
What was his excuse? He was a maniac.
I don't know. Where's my phone? Check that. Is my phone over there? Check the text. It would be funny to have Jim Goad and John Rocker, both guys horribly accused of being heavily racist.
Yeah, bigoted.
Probably for different reasons.
Yeah, I might.
I don't know. I don't know John Rocker that well.
What was it he said? That people speak different languages in New York and there's queers there or something? That was the quote. I looked it up.
Yeah, he was.
And that was it.
He would never play for New York because in the subway you have to sit beside a queer with AIDS next to a mother of 4 that's only 20 years old, et cetera, et cetera. Nothing that's untrue, but he said the wrong words. If he said a alternative lifestyle with a debilitating disease.
Right. He had great delivery, though. He had timing and everything. He held the room in thrall last night.
I don't know him well enough to defend or persecute him.
Well, people ask me if I'm a racist. I say, well, what do you mean? What does that word mean? And I usually do you want to harm people? No. Do you think people are born equal? No. All the evidence points against it. And
right.
I was starting to tell you earlier. It's just the modern, Red Scare, racism and sexism, homophobia. People are just out of their minds about it, and people lost their humor about that sort of shit. It's such a gold mine.
I tried to read and I failed. Then went to Books on Tape to listen to Guns, Germs, and Steel.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
Which, if I gleaned anything out of it, yes, different, parts of the world progressed because of a lot.
Environment. And,
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what the racists say. That Nordic people and Chinese had cold, harsh environments, so the intelligent, clever ones survived, who put a lot of effort into raising a small number of kids instead of shitting them out on the African plains, and, just fucking everything left and right. They were different survivors.
You're gonna have to keep that mic. You have such a fuck. I don't know when they took that fucking tumor out of your head, if they took your voice box too. But I'm
going in and out.
I'm just seeing your mic going back and forth, and
Okay.
Even with no one talking, I've had to lean into.
I've got a cold. I don't want to give the mic herpes. I've got a cold sore here. So
that's all right.
Okay.
Hey, you're in fucking good company here.
I might get something from this mic. Trade STDs with this mic.
My dick has never done a podcast.
Yeah, but that was the thing last night. Like, there were a few black people in the audience, like hardly any. Except
tonight, I was only aware of it because you asked me before the show if there are black people in my audience, and when I went through the audience, there was not as
it's Atlanta, but
not equal to the population base in Atlanta.
Right.
But there's at least a dozen black guys I saw walking to the stage only because I was aware of it because you asked.
Because there were 4 acts last night, and they all said something along the lines of "I'm not racist," but they all did like I'm not racist, but joke. Like, they had that disclaimer. I know, like, a lot of people who think I'm an okay writer. Well, he's a horrible human being, but you can write him.
I try my best to never apologize for jokes. Like, I try to double down. If you think this is, and to the point where it makes it ludicrous, and if you don't get it still, then But prejudice exists naturally.
Well, what about postjudice? What if you've actually hung around with Koreans and fucking hate them after all your experiences? Because prejudice implies you'll like somebody if you get to spend enough time with them. What if you spend a time with a group of people and you wind up hating them?
Well, you do that. You do that. It's just not necessarily race-related or sex-related or gender. If you walk into a fucking wedding and you're invited and you don't know anyone there, you will gravitate towards people who look like you or are around your age.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing you learn in prison, too. Like, But that was the thing, too. Like, you'd see Peckerwoods, like Aryan Brotherhood guys, playing cards with Crips, and everyone kind of knew their boundaries, but everyone got along great. It was, and
now you went to prison. Not everyone that listens to my podcast knows Jim Goad, the writer, racist, wife beater,
racist, and country singer.
For the record, you beat women that weren't actually married to you.
Yes, so girlfriend beater.
All right,
hit them back.
You know what? Pause the podcast. Go Wikipedia Jim Goad.
GOAD.
Yeah. And then come back.
Form your own conclusions. I'm fine with it. I'm happy with everything I've ever done. My only problem is just with spending too much time worrying or fretting about being misunderstood about it.
I met you in Portland, and I don't know how. It might have been MySpace.
I think
not sure.
It was Arthur Kablowski that he sent you my stuff, I think.
Okay, that might be it. Yeah. Arthur Hinty, for the people who don't know Art Kablowski.
Yeah.
Hinty.
And then we did mushrooms, and you went to the strip club, and the girl I was with, her friend, threatened to kill himself while we were high on mushrooms, so we had to leave.
Now, you worked for a smut publication that was just above Dante's in Portland, where I taped the last special.
Free sex industry rag. There should be a generic term. I'm not sure they can, because they have them in every city. It's like a guide to the sex industry, Jack Shacks and
but like Playboy magazine or any, you actually wrote articles like Kilgore Trout. I believe.
Home breast implant kits, adult films made by children. I was like inside a Trojan horse making fun of the industry, because I don't understand why they say women are degraded through that shit. I think guys are. Guys are treated like shit. Women are worshipped. Give me money to take my clothes off. I'm there.
Exactly. No guy ever made money watching porn.
Yes, but I heard this. I got out of the joint, and this guy created a job for me, and you had these women in the sex industry trying to dummy it up that they were sex workers, they weren't whores, and you were sex positive. And it's like, why do you need to be positive about sex? Like, you have to actually learn to like it?
Let's backtrack a minute. You were in the joint.
Yeah.
Let's quickly cover it, just to
Well, okay, if
people
I
up.
could give you a link, jimgoad.net/sound/ANNE.mp3. Jimgoad.net.
no one's going to do that.
Okay. Well, no, you got to hear
Anyway,
that.
all
It's
right,
the most
you know what?
frightening.
We already told people to look at your Wikipedia
Okay.
page. Figure it out.
They wouldn't let that on Wikipedia, but that's sort of threatening to cut my head off, chop my nipples off. I will never be able to make a public appearance again. She's telling the cops, she's like, give this tape to the cops, telling them I'm violating the restraining order. I can't stay away from you. I'm going to have to be put behind bars. I wound up on my ass. It was like a musical chairs thing.
You did 2.5 years for...
2.5 years for hitting her back, beating the fuck out of her. Yeah. And again, yeah, she. I was a year of patience with. Again, I took a restraining order out against her. She attacked me physically 3 times in 3 weeks. Every time I called the cops.
But it's almost like hate crimes where you go, if a dude kicks the shit out of me, there's really no penalty. He'll probably spend the night in jail and get probation.
Well, I think it's because women are the second-class citizens is bullshit. They live 7 years
I'm
longer.
fucking weak as shit. I could not fight. I should be treated as a woman. If a dude beats the fuck out of me, I'm a lady.
I always said if I'd like needled Shaquille O'Neal for over a year, threatened to kill him, threatened to chop Shaquille O'Neal's nipples off, stalked him,
slapped him with a cerebral palsy hand every day.
He took out a restraining order against me, and and I kept hitting him and everything, and he beat the shit. Nobody would give a shit. I mean, even though he's relatively bigger and stronger compared to me than I was compared.
You say relatively like there's a fucking. No,
well,
he's completely.
No, she was only 2 inches shorter than me and like 30 pounds. I was like a stick at the time, 30 pounds lighter. But fuck, yeah, but it's second-class citizen bullshit. They don't... I did an article like 2 nights ago about moms who kill their kids. There was just did you hear about this in Utah? They found 6 babies.
Oh, yeah. I haven't followed up on it.
But they did a study, and it was back in like the late 60s. I don't know if it's changed, but like 68% of women who kill their kids go to mental hospitals. 14% of guys who kill their kids. The rest go to prison. There's female privilege for that sort of shit. They've done studies. If a chick commits the same crime, oh, she's mentally ill. She's got emotional problems. If a guy does it, he's just evil. What if I'm just mentally ill?
But we were, before this, we were kind of talking about that. People who do benefit from gender, racial.
She was going to do a book. She was writing a book called "Milking the System" when I was with her about false.
That did not get entered into the fucking evidence.
The DA was this Mormon guy who and this was Portland. This was like there's a
look at this transcript, milking the system.
Oh yeah, and I think he originally wanted to give me 25 years, but he backed off once. There were tapes. My friend Sean Tedgerachi, he's Shittington UK on Twitter. He's the funniest guy on Twitter. Rolling Stone selected him one of the top 25 funniest people on Twitter. He got her calling him and saying, he's going away, and my ex-wife was dying of cancer. She'll be dead. He'll be in prison. I'm jerking off to the fact that she's dying of cancer. I mean, she's psychotic. And that's cool. I mean, I think that's anti-sex. Hey, women can actually try to harm, can be malicious. Wow, they're not these innocent flowers that feminism is. I mean, feminism changed somewhere where it's like women aren't people. It's like they're innocent. It's like, well, that's kind of condescending. It's like with black people. I want a black guy who's going to fucking hate me for being white, going to be an absolute jerk off. Then I'll know we have equality.
I did the bit last night about Boston Strong and Joe Biden coming out and saying, well, Boston, these people are resilient. Give me an opposed to.
I have 2 things that count with him. He went to a high school that I won a scholarship to, but my parents wouldn't let me go because they thought I was a brat. And hair transplants. I had one treatment in my early 20s right here. That was the first metrosexual.
Right where you're fucking... You just... people don't know that you just pointed to your giant horseshoe scar on your bald head where your brain cancer came out. Right. Is exactly where you had hair transplants.
Yeah, so it didn't do me any good anyway, so I just shaved my head.
But I'm saying, like... The Boston Strong thing. These people in this specific geographic area, they're resilient and they come back and they fight even harder, as opposed to what other people who are known for being weak-kneed and fall apart after a fucking marathon bombing. Women, the way you're saying, women are all innocent, because feminism says women are all innocent.
This chick, when I was still in prison, she went down for 2.5 months for consciously running over someone with her car. Now, it was a bicyclist, so it was a mitigating circumstance there. Everyone hates bicyclists, especially in Portland, so I had some sympathy for the crime. But yeah, she used a 2-ton car to knock over some spindly hipster guy, with a...
On purpose?
She yelled out, "I hate bicyclists," and then ran him over.
It's kind of tough to defend.
But yeah, well, you have automotive privilege there. You know, your size advantage, but it wasn't that outrage. I think women are, and I think reproductively, okay, you could probably repopulate the earth with just one guy and 100 women.
But why do you keep getting stuck with fucked in the head girls?
I'm sure I'm fucked in the head in some way. I'm sure but I'm almost like the eye of a hurricane. Like I'm less fucked up than they are, but I wind up absorbing the guilt.
When I first met you, I don't know if it's the first time. One of the times at Dante's, I was playing there, and you said, "Hey, when you come to town, let's all do Viagra." Me and you and the other comics, Andy Andrus, let's all do Viagra to try to raise the level of testosterone in the room.
Yeah, well, you had to
just to see the effect.
Yeah,
and we thought that was funny. And you're Jim Goad, so we're going to listen for a minute, and then we realize we don't have any chicks here, and you have a girlfriend. So you take Viagra, you go home with the Jew, as you called her.
She was the Jew, yeah. And we didn't even take Viagra that night. We took
we didn't.
The mushrooms.
We did the math and go, we're not taking Viagra, sitting around with boners all fucking alone. So we took mushrooms.
But yeah, and then you guys went to the strip club. She had a friend who threatened to kill himself while we're on mushrooms, so we took a cab. He stopped threatening to kill himself. We went home. We were fucking, and I think I told you this last night. She reached up, grabbed my ear, said, "What's that?" And I'm like, "It's my ear." And she's like, "Well, what's it doing there?" I was like, "So thanks for the mushrooms. Good mushrooms." Jesus Christ. And different mushrooms. They had like these cherry stems with flowers. They weren't the psilocybin where it looks like a spin.
That was our friend Goosekirk that we did one of our podcasts with, who ended up getting locked up in a prison in Brazil. That's how I know him, is doing mushrooms that night with you. He brought those mushrooms.
It was after Harvey's. He handed me a yogurt container.
Yeah.
Not Harvey's, Dante's.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And he handed me the yogurt container and said, "These are for Stanhope later." And at that time, I'd never even done mushrooms.
And you
Really?
Those?
And I had all the merch, similar to the other night. I've got the merch, walking down the street alone, back to the hotel after I dumped you guys off and you took the yogurt container. And I saw you in the morning.
But you ever done psychedelics just to see how much you can take without going completely insane? Because we
No. I'm a chicken shit. Like,
Really?
people go, "Wow, you're fucking out of control." And I go, "Not compared to the people I know that do this shit hard."
But what about the time with you and Tom Rhodes holding on to the driveway?
We didn't. Oh, that's when Tom Rhodes decided we needed to do one more dose. But I'm not. Goad is a fucking maniac. Goad is like, he's the guy that will take a fucking load of Viagra just to see how it, changes the mood of the room. Like, that's fucking crazy.
Now, I remember in Philly, we would do it. We would have a ritual every Christmas Eve. We would drop acid and then go stealing baby Jesuses throughout the Delaware Valley. And I remember we had a whole cache of them, and then
Anyone who says let's take acid and then, if you have a plan after the acid part, you're a psychotic.
well, my friend Brome, it was his time to take the baby Jesus, and was connected to the entire lattice work of the entire Christmas
like the light
display.
Or something that's plugged into
The
it?
entire side of the building's lighting system came off, and this guy chased us. And we're in snow driving. He's like, "All right, he's still making chase. Release lamb." We released like the baby of the lamb from the nativity scene, trying to make him crash. We got out of it though. We never got arrested.
Hanging out like a long line fisherman.
Or there was a time we took acid and then put on fake mustaches, pretending we were Puerto Rican, tried to pick up chicks, and just to see how much.
Is that all it takes? Is a fake mustache?
We didn't score, but it was pathetic. But yeah, it was almost like just this test of how much. It wasn't to get any kind of insight, just to keep
two
yourself from going
friends,
insane.
only one's dead, the other doesn't. I don't talk to. I haven't for years. But they did that where we had a sheet of acid and they did like 35 hits over 3 days.
Jesus. Yeah.
And
Well, I know some people never came back. That was a
no,
state of mind.
they came back. That's
Yeah.
the weird thing. One of them died accidentally. And the other one's like a city planner or something. And you were the guys that just went fucking hardcore.
But I've got that cred. It's like, okay, obscenity trial, guy shot at the White House, quoted my writing, 3 kids killed themselves, sent me their life savings, prison, brain surgery, It's like, there's really nothing. What am I? I would pretty much have to die at Wembley Stadium in front of, at some marathon to top that. So it's like, it's enough. Now I'm just going to be normal and happy, and that'll be my performance art.
I've had more suicides than standing ovations in the last 3 years.
And you got blamed for them?
No, or thanked for them, but people, fans that have killed themselves, or people.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, the 2 days ago, it's on my Twitter feed, where in the story she left a 3-minute YouTube suicide note. 16-year-old girl,
Jesus
sophomore,
Christ.
and it's in fucking Louisville where I have to play on Tuesday.
That's awful.
And in her bio on whatever social networking Booksy, she quoted my suicide bit, "Life's not for everyone. Life's like a movie. If it sucked for more than half of it,
Right.
it's probably not going to get great at the end. No one should blame you for walking out early." And they put that in the fucking...
That's horrible. I did a whole issue of my magazine on suicide, and I say in the intro, it's...
Which magazine?
Answer Me.
Answer Me.
Only 4 issues 20 years ago, but I said in the intro. It's
But
like,
that's the one that kind of made your mark?
that's pretty much the stain that I left on the world. Obscenity trial, White House shooting, suicides. That was awful. Jack, my wife at the time.
Tell me about the obscenity trial, because I don't know about that.
That was the rape issue of issue 4, a college feminist at Evergreen College in Washington, which I think recently their principal said we have to make the school less white. That's his goal. Like, don't teach people to read and write and learn how to build things. Just make it less white. But she went into the bookstore, saw it, was horrified, and went to the DA, and he came in and told them, "Don't ever sell anything like this again." They said, "Fuck you," and they went on trial for promoting pornography, and they had to prove that it had literary merit. And we brought in all kinds of witnesses. It was taught at Berkeley as an example of an author who had post-traumatic stress disorder, and the jury wasn't convinced that it had any value, but what they got off was a technicality that the newsstand owners did not know it was obscene when they were selling it. And then they turned around and sued the state and got like $1 million, the largest civil rights. But why? Like, it's like change
It's
the
so
channel.
Ridiculous.
But I thought it was going to get better. It's gotten worse over the last 20
Yeah,
years.
no, you were here when that kid was... I had an Uber fan that came in right
Yeah.
before we started recording.
Yeah,
and
Uber Pupkin there.
Yeah. Rupert Pupkin. Have any of your beliefs changed? And you go, no, but I don't want to fight as much anymore because I don't think people are worth it.
You can't lift to all that stupidity.
No, and it's not
heavy
getting
lifting.
better.
Yeah, that's what I've just learned that over the last 6 months because for this website I'm working for, Thought Catalog, I did a book about people who've
Plug them again.
ThoughtCatalog.com. He published his book of everyone who's harassed and threatened me online. And after a while, because I used to think, well, I defend my words and I'll argue with anybody about it, but you can't cure their stupidity. And it's just, they're idiots of a higher level, but it doesn't stop me from being an idiot just for engaging. They're not going to get it.
Yeah. So, I yell about stuff like that,
Yeah.
but I don't think I'm changing people. And in the morning, fuck those people.
Yeah, I think the proudest thing I've ever done was when we did Answer Me. We got huge in this small zine underground, and it got to the point it was like the crab in the bucket. Like these other zines just started getting jealous how much attention we got. So everyone who said it was issue 2 was genius. By the time issue 3 came out, they're overrated. So we pretended we were interracial lesbians from Kentucky. I got a friend in Kentucky who got a post office box. We did like 100 copies. We tried to do the worst possible zine we could imagine. We actually smeared them with squid. We pretended they were vaginally, like the two lesbians actually put their scent on it. And just hidden between all this poetry, this death poetry and stop raping us collages and shit, there was an anti-Goad, anti-Answer Me, article in there. That was the bait. And we sent it out to everyone who criticized us. And they sent letters to Kentucky. You guys are geniuses. You put those motherfuckers where they are. And just playing on their sympathies. Like, how could interracial lesbians be assholes? That's, they're saints now. Whoever used to be a scumbag a generation or two ago are like saintly. They're untouchable, like transsexuals. If you want to mutilate your genitals, like, it's not my problem or issue, but why is that like a great thing now? And almost like it's bigotry. I think there's a natural revulsion for that. Like, yeah, there's a natural revulsion for the dent in the fucking side of my head. Like, I understand that. I mean, it's almost like a scar, longshoreman scar or something. But
That's ingrained in you as a kid, though. When you see someone who has something different, don't mention it. Don't ask. Don't be curious about the fucking dent in the guy's head when it's probably his best story. The guy with a dent in his head has something to tell, and you're trained from birth to not look at it. He's got nice eyes still. Focus on those.
No, it was, the story is I was epileptic as a kid, would have night seizures always in the night. But then it went 30 years without a seizure. And I actually wrote an article about epilepsy saying, like, am I getting ready for the big one? Well, little did I know. I started seeing these. If you look up Aura headache on AURA on Google, it's exactly what it looks like. This jagged rainbow line. I'm thinking, am I having acid flashbacks? Like, what the fuck is it? And went on for a couple months, and I would get migraines, throw up, and I woke up one morning, June 1st, 2008, felt it coming on. Next thing I know, there's like ambulance workers looking down on me, took me to the hospital. Plum-sized benign tumor, sought it out. The reason there's a dent is they cut through the muscle, and the muscle never goes back. So if you had no muscles in your head, this is what you're.
So muscle head is an actual thing?
Oh yeah. This is the only part that
we were calling John Rocker that behind his back, but we weren't talking about his head.
That guy was a walking steroid. He was amazing.
He was fucking I was amazed. That story seemed so old to me that I thought he must be my age. He's only 38. He could still be hurling in the majors.
Yeah. Now you're going to bring him out to Bisbee to.
Yeah, we're in talks with him to bring him to the Bisbee Blues, and you were there. He was very interested.
Still identify libertarian?
In theory,
yeah,
but it wouldn't work because libertarianism relies on the decency of human beings, and I think in a small village it could work. Right. In maybe the BC times, but the more people you make, the more humanity is.
Because one thing I noticed over the last 5 years, I don't know if there's like billionaires financing this propaganda, but libertarians are now depicted as sociopaths. And, and like Ayn Rand worshipped a serial killer.
But I've noticed in how the Tea Party, which again I don't really pay attention, so I can't argue. But the Tea Party has been folded into the right wing, where I thought the Tea Party was kind of more libertarian, like just get the fuck off our back and let us just live our lives. Again, I can't argue it,
right?
But yeah, it seemed like an independent thing that they forced into one or the other. So you'll always have one or the other. If a third party, it has some kind of springs out, well, we'll just say they're one or the other. You're a liberal. You're a fucking conservative. No, we're different. We're just third party. No, you're one or the other. But no, we're trying to be the third. No, you can't. I don't know.
Well, I don't trust human nature, so I don't trust people who claim the right to take my money. And
that's why libertarianism fails, is because hey, anarchy.
Well, in the same way I don't trust the government, I wouldn't trust people without a government. So there's really no answer.
Yeah. I think for a minute, if there were no government, shit would go haywire for a minute, and then everyone would calm down.
I lived through the LA riots, and the theory was that Daryl Gates, it was the hard-knuckled asshole LAPD cop. He was the one who said that because a reporter asked him why so many black people are dying of chokeholds, and he's like, well, they don't have windpipes like normal people.
He said that?
He said normal people. Yeah.
But he's doing lectures. Meanwhile, John Rocker
right.
just says, I hate New York because of all this shit and people don't speak English. Yeah, he's relegated. Oh, yeah, Daryl Gates. They're not like normal people with windpipes.
John Rocker's not on the tour circuit for $50,000.
He can't even open for Daryl Gates.
He was at some banquet when the riots popped off, and the theory was, I don't know if it was ever confirmed, but he wanted to have people see what it would be like without cops. And it was fucking terrifying. I mean, I was there in Hollywood trapped. Everyone every building up and down Hollywood Boulevard was on fire. I could feel the flames. And
Hollywood Boulevard?
Oh, yeah. They fucking tore up everything. Yeah, I
They
was
burned Hollywood Boulevard.
Fredericks got smashed a bit. I would look out my window. People were like stealing like sleeping bags, cases of hot dogs, whatever the fuck they could get off Hollywood Boulevard. And nobody black there. It was like just heavy metal kids and Mexicans. That's all that lived there. Yeah, just opportunists.
It's weird. I've just started thinking about where I would go for a sleeping bag on Hollywood Boulevard. Like if I needed
They had
one.
some camping store.
Like an Army Navy surplus.
All right.
I mean, Hollywood
I know.
Boulevard is a shithole. There's tons of everything on that street.
That would be the
When was
worst
that?
place to
That was,
loot. Is all you
90
get is
92.
fucking bumper stickers and souvenir T-shirts. I get a whole rack of I love Hollywood
Black
glitter
posters.
T-shirts.
Well, yeah, all these like guys who like were in a previous incarnation of Guns N' Roses, who are now in another metal band playing the strip, who were stealing hot dog cases. Like it had nothing to do with politics. It was just the opportunity. But yeah, that's what I heard. That Daryl Gates wanted people to see what it would be like without cops, and probably pretty hard, unless you didn't know how to take care of yourself.
Well,
It'd be
again,
horrifying.
that's in a riot situation. But if we were just going home tonight and cops just stopped existing, everything's fine. Everyone's just worried about Malaysian Air flight. Who gives a
Right.
fuck? And cops disappeared. No, I don't think that there'd be fucking rioting in the streets.
I mean, I look at it like psychology or psychiatry. People who are fucked up are going to become psychologists and psychiatrists. So a certain amount of people who want to crack heads are going to become cops. But I couldn't do that job. And that's one thing I learned in prison. There were guards that were psychological masters, like who just treated people right, knew how to treat people, and there was never any problem. It was the assholes that caused problems. I'm sorry, I was stepping on you. What you were saying there.
What's that?
You were going to say something and I talked over you?
No, I was listening. I mean, what you said, that's interesting. But I don't know. You think if there were no cops, all of a sudden, everyone would treat each other nice and everything would be cool? And
It wouldn't be like the L.A. riots.
No.
It wouldn't be like, oh, no cops, let's all fucking go burn shit down. Yes, people would be assholes, especially young people.
Wasn't the libertarian idea that government wants to monopolize violence? Like, actually, like, take all the guns, just have all the ability to punish people. I think if there weren't cops, people would learn self-defense and take care of themselves better. I think people have been rendered babies by a government that's too strong.
When you grow up, you're born into a system where you just assume you're going to be taken care of. Like as a kid, I was a middle class kid, and I never thought about taking care of myself. That's what the state does. That's the mindset. You go to school and then you do this, and if you get sick, the emergency room is there, and you never think, oh, well, that some of this is going to be on me, other than I have to get good grades. So you grow up thinking, hey, if I'm in the bike lane, it's illegal for them to drive here, so I don't look both ways. Like, yeah, well, fucking people will still drive through that. That's why if you go to other countries, there's no warning signs and railings on the side of the mountain walk up by the cliff going to, Machu Picchu, stand this far away from the thing because we got sued from the last person that fell off. No, you fucking fall off the cliff. You look for a fucking cliff in those countries. You don't have giant... Please observe all the rules and things and wear a helmet, and there's a safety strap.
Grip tape on the edge of every pyramid.
Right. Grip tape.
And I saw you on YouTube I was looking at something, you're on Russia today, saying that nothing's offensive to you.
Well, there's things that are offensive to me, but not that I would say you shouldn't say that. There's the things that are offensive to me are lies on TV commercials and...
Only Tabasco at breakfast?
Yeah, that's
That's
offensive
offensive.
to me. A restaurant that only has fucking Tabasco makes me irate in the morning.
The way I put it is like nothing offends me, but almost everything bothers me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going to steal that from you, and this podcast will never air. And then I'll say Jim Goad stole that from me.
Constantly bothered by everything. I mean,
You
put the toothpaste cap on, motherfucker, like everything.
the
but offended-
minutia, yeah, and big things don't bother me.
Right.
Free sushi the other day from the guy who bought us sushi. You still managed to complain about it at the show in Tallahassee.
Oh, it was awful. before a show, meeting the fan that just left here. That he was a
Same guy? Or
no.
just
But
same
if I met that guy at 3:00 in the afternoon, where he's not supposed to be there, and he's the only other guy in a sushi bar where I'm shuffled in pajamas,
right?
And the only other guy at the sushi bar is like that guy, Stanhope. Hey, and you're like, I can't make words at 3 PM. We just drove from fucking wherever.
I remember, Lester Bangs was? He was a rock critic that died at like 33.
No,
legendary.
I don't even know music, much less people who critique it.
Yeah, writer too.
He was. Yeah, he was. He wrote Elvis's eulogy in some newspaper, and he said the worst sin an artist can have is to have contempt for his audience. I'm like, well, that's
that's
been my
all
whole
I
act.
have.
That's been my whole act.
Yeah.
the whole time.
I say that on stage when I look at my watch. I'll go, "Hey, young comics, don't ever do this." And look at my watch, because that shows a contempt for your audience. Showing contempt for... Yes, the audience is the worst part of the fucking business.
Well, how does that help? I mean, your self-esteem when people who like worship you don't understand you at all. Isn't that like do you get that a lot?
I try not to even listen anymore, because it's the one fucking guy that makes you crazy, and then my brain will extrapolate that into every person in the audience is that one guy. So,
like the guy who was here before,
but
he was very nice, but I was uncomfortable. I was like, I didn't know if I was going to have to tackle him or what was going to happen.
But then I don't like him for the same reason I don't like the guy that hates me, because you're both right. But you don't like me, and he does. Yeah, you like me, you don't, but I'm not you. And what I feel about myself, but go ahead. I don't want to talk much on this podcast.
With me, the ones that just naturally would hate me or hate what they think I represent, they leave you alone. It's the ones who like worship you and then like...
They hang around for a picture and an autograph.
Until you have to be rude.
And then they say you're all Hollywood and shit.
Then they really fucking hate you like for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Those are always the ones that are problematic.
And those are the only ones I ever pay attention to. Yeah. I have 1,800 emails backed up in emails I have not ever responded to. But the one guy that's a fucking asshole, I'll fixate on him. I'll find out where he lives. I'll put hackers on him.
Squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Yep.
Do you know the Barbara Streisand song, The Way We Were? Mm-hmm. Okay. I was 12 years old. My mom was tooling us around through Delaware County, Pennsylvania. That song came on, and she says, it's the laughter we remember when we... And I said, Mommy, that's not me. I remember, like at 12, I knew that I remember the bad. Yeah. I could have 100 people say something nice, and it's just the one jerk off. It's just something bad I'll obsess about.
That's
natural.
Universal. I mean, I think everyone has different degrees of it.
Yeah, I'm like full blown on that.
That's normal.
But I said to that kid, he said, do you still have the same opinions you had on Deadbeat Hero, which is 10 years ago? And I go, yeah, but the importance has changed where I wake up hating different stuff. So, yeah, I have the same opinion, but it's not at the forefront of what bothers me today. I had a fucking point with that, and now I'm just thinking I have to piss.
It's been 10 minutes I haven't pissed. This is like a miracle. We're going on world record. We could start raising funds at this point.
I was out of the room for most of the podcast. Just recap it for me real quick.
Oh, I'm a woman-beating Nazi that feels misunderstood, basically. Right. Not much beyond that. But, I mean, the amount of action I got with chicks because of that is being perceived as being a woman-beating Nazi. I mean, I beat a woman back and went to prison over it. And I had a restraining order against her, documented death threats. Nobody ever wants to hear that, but I always bring it up because I think it's relevant.
No, I think you
it wasn't I was just going around.
Obviously, this works on getting the chicks.
It was kind of depressing because I thought I'd be a pariah, but I always tell the story. The night I got out of prison in Portland, some friends took me to this hipster bar restaurant, and after you're in prison 2.5 years, the guys there are a different breed than these beta males you see in Portland. And two things changed. I went from 98 to like late 2000. When I got out, suddenly cell phones and lesbians were everywhere. But I see these guys, and they're all chicken-chested and apologetic and yes, dear. And I said, well, no wonder there's so many lesbians. Like, look at these guys. I'd be a lesbian, too, with the way guys have become.
Are you doing some kind of camp, some man-up camp?
Man, I was actually, I know some, there were some guys in Chicago. I know they're about my age, haven't been laid in years. I was going to try to pitch a reality show while I teach them game. Be harsher with women, be unapologetic, be disinterested in them. That's, and again, I really wish the world wasn't that way. I wish, like, if you were nice to people, they were not, that's not the way it works.
Wishes?
Yeah. Wishful thinking will get you fucked up every time.
Well, good. I'm caught up.
I'll
We did a recap.
Jim Goad.
Yeah.
A cult figure, as I get called. You did kind of what I did.
What was that? I saw Linda Blair was on some TV show yesterday. Said the cult classic, The Exorcist. Like, how fucking huge do you have to be to like not be a cult?
Wait, that's fucking.
That was
no way.
That Oscar nominated for Best Picture.
But if
That's
you're
the oxymoron.
Yeah.
Cult classic, Exorcist.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way.
at this point, people who are aware of that movie are so old that we're no longer relevant. So it's a cult classic. The only people who watch it today are cult people. It's like if you watched fucking what were you?
My favorite movie, a cult classic, War of the Gargantuas.
All right, but I'm saying,
just wanted
what's
to
the
put
one
that
you Red Rum, not Red Rum, Bedbug? What the fuck we just watched? All right,
The Shining.
No, the sled is named fucking.
Citizen Kane.
Rosebud.
Yeah,
I saw that on acid before having the living shit kicked out of me on acid. Hitchhiking the way we went down to like 40th Street in Philly to see Citizen Kane, and all I remember, there's one scene where a bird squawks and it startled me. Otherwise, I was too fucking high to understand what was going on. And so we're hitchhiking home. It's like late May, nice weather out, and 4 douchebags in a Chevelle pull up. And the key should have been 2 of the douchebags get out and sandwich us in between, like front and back, and they just beat the fuck out of us on acid.
I have the same kind of head where I have to stop myself. Where just the most random story. I have a story that's so fucked up based off of, hey, the McRib sandwich, and I go, oh yeah, the McRib. I fucked a girl in the backseat of the car, the first or whatever. Like you just stop saying them because you're gonna have a weird story based on whatever the conversation is. Oh, that's where I got herpes is from the girl that did. She looked like Uma Thurman, and oh, sorry, go back to your movie conversation.
I'm sorry, Citizen Kane. You were saying?
No,
is that a cult classic?
I enjoy the fact that you have this.
I'm somewhere below cult. I'm, subterranean or something, I guess.
Either way, the point is you moved here to fucking nowhere, Georgia.
Yes.
Last time we saw you, we were having back when we did the Death Valley parties. Right. You were on your way with a U-Haul.
To do a book about NASCAR.
Yeah, I remember you stopped in for a night. I think we did drugs. All I remember is in the morning before you left, Andy Andrist thought you had pot in the car, so he stripped naked or nearly naked and greased himself to slide through the open window, which he fit through without grease. He just wanted to fucking grease his naked body down.
Shorts on and have someone slather him with the Vaseline or baby oil.
It was a long week. So,
And we did have pot in the car, right?
Yeah, and he smoked one of your joints, and then you woke up and go, what the fuck are you doing? You had to be here. We just oceaned 11 to your car.
That's when I was walking around pretending I was cooler than everyone, according to one a comic.
Did I say that?
No, Inman's.
Oh, Inman said that. You said that earlier. I'm like, I don't think I said that.
About everyone. Anyone who doesn't want to be engaged with him.
What? No, he was cooler than Inman, so he walked around like himself, and Inman noticed that he was himself, and Inman realized he's not as cool and pointed it out. Is there anything wrong with that? He's not being racist or classist.
I guess not.
He's just pointing out the facts. You were walking around like you were cooler than Inman because you were cooler than Inman.
Without even trying. That was the crucial thing. I wasn't trying to be cooler than Inman. It just came naturally.
With some bad self-esteem, looking for someone else who's worse than you, going, oh, at least I'm cooler than Inman. You just were cooler than Inman.
You would actually be cooler than Inman even if you had one of those hard hats with 2 beers and the straw coming down you. It's a low bar.
What was the last time you hung out
Inman doesn't understand that he's cool because he's a fucking nitwit. That's why we love him. We love the fact that his self-hatred is so funny to us. But anyway,
So that was the last time you saw me.
and you moved here to.
I moved to Pennsylvania first to do the book about NASCAR, which fell through with the girl. Still talk to her once a year or whatever.
Wait, a girl or a book?
A girl that I was going to do a NASCAR book with. She had done a book with Legs McNeil about the porn industry. We were going to do a book about NASCAR and lived at Legs McNeil's house. And I don't know if you know who that is. He did a book called Please Kill Me, an oral history of punk rock. And just imagine, he was around that whole scene. He claims to have invented the term punk rock. He did a magazine called Punk in the mid-'70s.
It's not very punk rock to say, I invented the name punk rock, is it?
It's not very punk rock to be in your 60s and cruising MySpace saying that I was at CBGB's in 1975 to get laid, but he still does.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
on MySpace?
It was MySpace at the time, yeah. While he was engaged, he would cruise MySpace to bang punk rock groupies. But that fell through. I moved to Florida to finish a sex book and then moved up here. And
So when that book falls through, you lose the place to live, you break up with the chick.
Well, it was this weird situation with the girl where it was unfeasible to even set it out this way, but I'm like, okay, we're going to do this book together. We can sleep together and have sex, but we're not ever going to be boyfriend and girlfriend.
I'm not holding your hand at the mall.
And people would ask you guys, and I'd say no, and she wouldn't say anything. But after about a year, she started getting weird and checking text messages and accusing me of things. And I actually once took a picture of my dick just to see how my dick was looking, and she thought I was sending it to girls. And it was one of those things where it just became like endless accusations. If you don't stop,
I think that too. Like, all right, who's taking a picture of their dick for themselves?
This was the one time.
I would, yeah.
That's the only reason there's a camera on
I'd
the
be a
phone.
bit suspicious.
No, I've even written. I wrote a whole article about. I think I may have pioneered the cell phone dick pic and the art of sending it out. But this was an absolutely innocent
Back before
time.
he coined punk rock himself.
Yes.
Yeah, before you got to take credit. You know what I did coin was coffee table books about coffee tables. That whole Seinfeld theme. Do you know?
That was Kramer's idea, I believe.
I wrote a headline for the LA Reader in 1990, the year Seinfeld first started producing out in LA. There were two books, and this guy reviewed them. One was about coffee tables, one was about cloth. And I said, cloth coffee table books about cloth and coffee tables. That was the headline. I don't think they consciously stole it. Maybe they did. They are Jewish. I'm not sure. But, it became a meme, and I just never got any of Larry David's $500 million. Did
you ever have a chick that was upset you didn't hit her? She was only fucking with?
Plenty. Yeah, that were like upset that I was nice. I mean, after getting out of prison, all I would ever do was walk away. And I've had them, the Jew one that you met that I called the Jew, she fucking, she kicked, spit, screamed at me on the streets. I broke up with her, sent her back to her mom's.
She seemed very nice.
Well, yeah, looks are just,
in a Jewy way.
Yeah, and, 10 minutes of exposure, but the thing when you break up with a girl that you live with, if you learn nothing from this, get your apartment key back. Because she came by about 2 weeks later. I just finished up with a girl like 15 seconds. There's a knock on the bedroom door. Hey, it's insert Jewish girl to hide her identity.
Princess.
And I'm like, oh, hey, I just woke up.
Anne
Hold on
Frank,
a second.
we'll call her.
Yeah. She came around the other way to the other entrance, burst in, chased the half-naked girl down the hallway, took the mattress, dragged it out onto the street and to the parking lot because I guess it had been our mattress and I had tainted it. And I got back with her for a while. Then
Do you have any exes that actually talk to you that you're friendly with?
Yeah. Actually, the one that ran down the hallway. I'm still friendly with. Yeah,
always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
The funny thing is, actually, the couple that I do talk to from time to time are black, and the stereotype you'd think they'd go all Jerry Springer, but they were the coolest.
It's
I was a pioneer with white guys having sex with black chicks too. I mean, there are many things I'm not credited for. Yeah, then sometime in the mid '80s.
You and Tom Jefferson.
Yeah,
high five, Tom.
Yeah, when it was radical for a Michael Jackson video to be on MTV, I had a black girlfriend, and so, when it was risky. Now that it's not risky, it's like why even bother?
Yeah.
You get congratulated for it. I want to be.
Are you a bug chaser too?
Yeah, I don't want to be.
I used to
probably
fuck guys with AIDS back before Magic Johnson was fucking all thick and beefy.
That's probably how I become an Eagle Scout. It's like I've had all these other traumas and scandals, but I'm probably gonna have to get
So
AIDS.
I wanted to get to
Consciously
because
it
we
is.
gotta fucking close this up. But living here, because you are a fucking underground known person, and you moved to a place where nothing is, like we did.
Yeah.
So Stone Mountain was.
I'm out in Loganville, which is like 20 miles east of Stone Mountain now, and it's right
How
about a
big?
mile before you get into town. You see these signs: "Repent, Jesus, hell is real." Jesus, it's like okay, that's the line between city and country. I'm about a mile into the country.
All right.
I've been there.
How big a
little over year. I don't got 10,000 something.
All right.
Yeah, it's still kind of on the outskirts. The Atlanta metro area is like LA. It just fucking goes on forever. But
All right. So you're in the shit. See, we're not. We're 5,000 people, but they're cool people. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know what your equivalent here would be.
probably somewhere up like in Rapin County where Deliverance was filmed.
But so you have neighbors and whatnot. You're this guy,
Yeah.
and they probably don't know who you are.
I look strange.
You're a 50-something-year-old shaved-headed guy with a dent in his head. You're not
Yeah.
gonna be like weird to look at in fucking redneck country.
It's like Boo Radley and Kill a Mockingbird, right?
He's like Radley Balco, is what I was thinking.
Yeah, there you
If
go.
he got kicked by a
No.
donkey with a shoe.
Right.
Like the house you stay away from, the kids stay away from.
Oh wait, you know Radley, don't you?
I know of him. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
He wrote for Reason. You wrote for Vice.
Yeah.
Shit, I should have followed up. How'd you get fucked by Vice? I love Vice.
Well, still, because usually
Well,
the children of cocaine kind of stories now, and the
I don't read it. That's my problem. I read CNN.com, and because I want to read what my fucking idiots, fan base is reading.
briefly
Which is wrong.
with
I
Vice.
should be reading Vice and going, here, let me teach you something rather than dispel something that you already think is true or a balance.
You watch Vice, didn't we watch it? We watched it in Bisbee.
Yeah. But they have a very well updated website of different weird
Yeah.
stories. They're the ballsiest. They're the fucking, Johnny Knoxville meets
That guy
60 Minutes.
That guy rode with us in the van. Wasn't he writing for Vice?
Oh, yeah. Well, let's not talk about that right now.
As far as I know, the three guys who founded Vice were big Answer Me fans, and they'll tell you that. And that was my magazine. That was the inspiration for them starting.
Yeah.
15 years later, when I had no job, I name searched myself and said that Vice was compared to Answer Me. So I hit them up for freelance stuff, and I did it for about a year every month. And Gavin, who's no longer with them because he said something about not being ashamed of being white, which is horrible. I mean, how could you not be ashamed for your own skin color? He said it in the New York Times.
Not being ashamed is different than being proud of. Proud of being something you had no fucking choice in.
Right.
Yes, I think. Bill
But that's,
Hicks
I mean,
covered
that wasn't good for the advertisers. But he asked me to do an article. They were having a rainy day for kids issue where it was like highlights for children. And he wanted me to take stuff from my Redneck Manifesto about literal white slavery in the colonies. Because, I mean, indentured servants were treated like rent-a-cars. I mean, there's voluminous information where the Irish slaves were treated worse than the black ones because, like, you own a slave for life. It's an investment. And so I did this article, Hey Kids, it's time for some dumb myths and smart facts about slavery. I talked about how there's still slavery in Africa and that, the word slave comes from Slav, that it's didn't just happen in the South, it's been universal. And they lost an advertiser because of it. And not because there was anything inaccurate about the article, because it was uncomfortable to see the neat little fucking morality play that they have shattered. That, hey, everyone's an asshole. That's what I preach for equality. Everyone can be a fucking asshole. I don't care what your gender, skin color. And I think they started squeezing Gavin out too. He's on Fox all the time and has a million different projects going on. But I only wrote for them once or twice after that again. And they put out, after that article came out, they put out some press release. We're going to grow up. And they learned their lesson. You don't actually bring real history into this. into the discussion if it's going to fuck up the religious fable that history has become.
Neighbors. I want to fucking know what your home life is like. I'm a fucking wreck right now. I am slumped in the corner of a couch, thanking Christ that you could fucking carry this podcast. I had every hope that John Rocker was going to carry it. And both you and we could sit back on the couch and let him talk because he's a fucking monster.
In the room and gone out to have a cocktail at the bar, an Irish bar next door, and come back in.
You could have driven to Bisbee and back. He'd still be talking. That guy was, he was motor mouth. He was fantastic.
Oh, he's fantastic. Though. And people in Bisbee, you'll see if we can land this deal. John Rocker pitching for the Bisbee Blues. Go to pecosleague.com. pecosleague.com. Find out there's a whole fucking new league for Bisbee baseball. Your neighbors. I want to know how much your life is like our life in Bisbee. Does anyone where you live know you or
no? It's been that way. I mean, I've noticed this since like the '80s, and it's not just me. I don't think people know their neighbors much anymore at all, unless you're in a really small town.
Where we live, you have to.
Have you ever read Bowling Alone or any of the work of Robert Putnam? He's a Harvard. I think his specialty is psychology, but he did what, to my knowledge,
I haven't read fucking Redneck Manifesto yet, and you gave me that like 11 years ago.
He did the biggest study ever on diversity, and he because you hear it's a strength, and we get nice restaurants and harmony and rainbow. I mean, look up diversity on Google Images like you want to throw up, and but he did like 10 years of studies, 30,000 test cases, whatever it was, and he didn't like the conclusion that it came to. So he ran his numbers and tried, squeezing. No, it was like when the society is more diverse, people are more paranoid. They don't know their neighbors. They don't engage, and they're distrustful. And I think I've seen that over my lifetime. When I was a kid, we lived in an Irish Catholic neighborhood. Everybody up and down the block was either Italian or Irish, and they were all Catholic. I knew everybody. I could still probably tell you the first and last names of everybody across the block. I can't tell you the last time I lived anywhere where I knew more than maybe the next door neighbor's first name. And I got more antisocial than the whole world did. But usually when like the last square job I had was about 6 years ago, and I think they didn't Google me, which is the only reason I got the fucking job. By the time, 2 or 3 months later when they did, it's like, all right, well, he's weird, but like he's normal enough that he's not this monster that you'd think just name searching me online. So it works in my favor. Plus, the perks that I already mentioned. And it's a good screening thing. Because guys like that don't walk up to me and say, "Hey, I've loved you." It's like they're afraid of me. So it's like I'm spared that discomfort.
I'm taking you off track, but the fact that you did get a straight job after you easily Googleable, wife beater, woman beater, prison time.
Yeah,
but the fact that you can still get a job.
Yeah.
You're fucking smarter. There's people who I can't do because I am this. I can't get a job. You can, if you're smart, you can fucking figure it out.
And you know what
if
it
you tried rather than complained, you can find a grift in the system.
Despite the public crucifixion, it's like, I think I'm right. And I'm a stubborn motherfucker, and like they're going to have to kill me. I really think I'm correct, so that's why I haven't shut up.
It's the stupid people that are the ones that you can always fucking trash. Hey, you fucking stupid. Well, those are the ones that can't get ahead because they're black or gay or been in prison or done this and that. Well, I can't get ahead. Well, it's because you're stupid. Let's help the fucking stupid people. Those are the only people that are okay to fucking shit upon are stupid people. Hey, let's give a leg up to stupid people. Yeah, you were in prison. You can't get a job if you're stupid. Jim Goad. Sorry, cut this out. I'm drunk.
No, it's stubbornness and it's spite. Spite, I mean, I love my son. He gets me up in the morning. That and spite are my two motivators. I want to outlive anyone who's ever thought anything negative about me. That's my goal in life. And I could be wrong. Maybe I am the monster they say. I don't think I am. And that's what keeps me going.
You've always been good to us.
There you go.
We were trying to gotta compare you to Joe Rogan. They're both have reputations.
Does
being angry white men.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I go, no, I think
I'm angry. I'm white. I'm a man. Yeah, but not in the stereotype. Yeah, guilty of all three, but not in the way that's stereotyped.
Yeah, no, not a problem.
Oh, definitely a problem too, but just not. Just don't fit the mold. I think that's what fucks people up.
Plug your site one more time. I gotta.
thoughtcatalog.com and Takimag, TAKIMAG. I've written over 300 articles for them. It's a Greek billionaire or multimillionaire, like an Onassis type, and he's this socialite, and he's great. Google image that guy. He's like the 77-year-old Doug Stanhope. He's the judo champion of the world for his age. He beat up Bo Svensson from Walking Tall like a year ago. No. The guy's like a foot taller than him. All he does is just have fun. So that's my boss on the weekends. It's Thought Catalog during the week.
All right. And what's your address?
Jim. Let's see. JG at jimgoad.net. I think
I always give out my address because I dare people to make the trek.
Or to send things to bingo.
To see, I give out my address. There'd be about 20 people putting diapers on and getting rifles and just making a straight shot. So that's the difference.
JimGoad.net. I don't know.
Yeah, that's for email at this point. I don't even.
Yeah.
Update it,
yeah. Fuck you, Mister. I don't follow anyone on Twitter. 0. Oh, you. Yeah. You have a bunch of followers, but you don't follow anyone. You have 0. Louis C.K., from what I remember, has 1. So you had to out Louis C.K. by having 0 followers.
But that's, I'm autistic or sociopathic.
That's fine. It's a better way of life, my friend.
Aspergery, whatever it is. All you neurotypicals would never understand that. Did you ever hear that?
All us people without a horseshoe fucking implant on the side of their cranium.
Have you ever heard that term, neurotypical? There's a certain, there's an Asperger community, I guess, and they look down, they're like, oh, you're neurotypical. Like, they think they're an advanced species. And I read some manifesto, and I was nodding in agreement with everything this guy said. I've read it out loud to people. They're like, I want to beat the shit out of that guy. It's like, well, I'm seeing something totally different here, so maybe that's it.
We're all probably wrong, but that's the end of the goddamn podcast.
All right.
This podcast brought to you by... Who are we brought to you by? Tell me something you like, Jim Goad.
Let's see. Actually, it was catered by King's Barbecue in Stone Mountain.
King's Barbecue.
King's, like King of Kings, yes.
Like King of Kings.
Prepared by authentic Southern blacks.
Negroes.
I saw Negroes.
I think we did say Negroes.
Negro seasoned food. I saw their hands scooping it out of the trays.
With no plastic gloves like those people at Subway who ruin the environment with a different pair of plastic gloves for every sandwich, tearing apart. This was honest, authentic Negro skin on the food. And there were a wonderful sweet potatoes I ate.
Yeah,
I just ate Chinky before you brought that in, but I told you, don't bring your pork bellies around here. I'm not a fucking Southern food fan, but those were some goddamn good sweet potatoes from King's in where?
Lovely downtown Stone Mountain, which used to be the home of the Klan. The Klan revived itself in 1920. It's 88% black now, so the Klan lost.
Oh, so where'd the Klan gentrify?
I don't think they really exist.
They have their
except for
hood up in a fucking kind of Hall of Fame hockey jersey frame thing. But I don't really go out anymore. I used to be in the Klan, but yeah,
they've kind of petered out. It's like black and white television.
Yeah, it's kind of like roller derby. Well, I guess that's back around.
That's back.
Yeah, it all comes back.
It's a nest of lesbians.
Domestic lesbians.
No, a nest of lesbians. It encourages lesbianism. All that roller derby. That's a whole different show. There you go.
Whatever encourages, anything that stops the breeding. Yeah, scissor up, ladies. Just stop blowing those babies out of you. I should shut up. I feel like I'm at the end of an open mic where I'm trying to walk the crowd. Good Christ. I'm sorry, podcast listeners, but like my shows, I'm not always on. Bye. Play the Matoid.
Party time. Party time. Party time. Party time. craps and fuck your fox. It's party time. Everybody, grab your craps and fuck your fox. It's party time. One more. Grab your craps and fuck your fox. It's party time. Here we go. Party time. Yeah. Party time. Party time. Yeah. Party time. 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 Hey.